Hey guys, welcome to the Hoan Zone, where we help you multiply the assets you own. And in the last couple of years, I bought $4 million in assets. And if you're looking to multiply your assets, then you're definitely going to want to subscribe because I release new videos every Monday and Wednesday here on the Hoan Zone. So about 10 years ago, I learned about this cool concept called the BRRRR Method. Now, the BRRRR Method is very popular today, but 10 years ago, it didn't even have a name. But I like to now tell you guys about the BRRRR Method because I recently told a friend of mine today about it, and he was just like, you could really do that? And it's like, absolutely. That's how I do all of my investing. So I figured if he doesn't know about it, then maybe there's somebody out there in YouTube world who doesn't know about it either. So let me share with you guys what this BRRRR strategy actually is. BRRRR is an acronym for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. And I will repeat all of that. You're going to buy a property, and then you're going to renovate the property. After you renovate the property, you're going to rent the property out. After you rent the property out, you're going to go refinance the property, and then you're going to repeat the process and acquire more assets. So the BRRRR method has allowed me to multiply the assets I own. Why it's super powerful? Well, if you do it correctly, you can buy asset after asset after asset after asset without having to use your own money. You get to pull out all of your money, and so if you don't have any money trapped in a deal, if you have zero money trapped in a deal, how many deals can you do? As many as you can find, right? That's why this is powerful. It allows you to buy as many assets as you can, and that's how I've been able to buy over $4 million worth recently. When I first started investing in real estate, or when I first wanted to invest in real estate, I analyzed all the properties with a 30% down in mind because I was thinking to myself, okay, this is a commercial property. They're going to want more of a down payment, more than 20%. I think it's 30%. I never talked to a lender, but I think it's 30%. So let's go with that. So I would do the math, and every time I did the math, and every time I analyzed the down payment compared to my cash flow, I was like, wow, that break even is crazy. Like, it would take years, like 7 years before I broke even. And though I had never been a real estate investor, I said to myself, I don't think this is how this is supposed to be. So with that, I did nothing. I did nothing for 2 years because I couldn't figure out how I was able to buy my second property after putting the down payment for the first one. All right, let's use numbers so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Right here, if I wanted to buy a property that was $250,000 at a 30% down payment, that means I would have to bring $75,000, right? $75,000 is a lot of money. And this property was able to cash flow $900 a month, right? So the $900 a month times 12 months meant that this property was going to bring in an extra $10,800 into my life per year. That's the cash flow. And then I was like, okay, well, if I'm bringing in $10,800, how long until I get my $75,000 back? Well, it turns out 7 years is when it was going to break even. And I said, look, I've never been a real estate investor before, but I don't think this is how this works. Because how are you going to become a big-time real estate investor when you buy one property every 7 years? It just didn't make sense to me. So again, I did nothing for 2 years. Well, then I learned this, the BRRRR method, and I'm going to show you guys how this deal could be done using the BRRRR method and why it's so powerful. So instead of buying the property for $250,000, let's say we bought the property for $100,000. And then we renovated it for another $50,000. And then we were able to rent it out for $2,000 per month. And now this is where the magic happens. When I go refinance the property, the bank's going to say, hey, we appraised your property, and it turns out that your property is worth $250,000. Remember that from the slide before? The property is worth $250,000. Because of that, we are willing to lend you $200,000. Now, if you borrowed the $100,000 to buy the property and the $50,000 to renovate the property, when you get that $200,000 loan, you pay off the $150,000, right? So I'm going to take this $200,000 loan, and I'm going to pay off the $50,000 and the $100,000. Let's pretend like I got that loan from my mom. Let's say my mom gave me $150,000 to do the deal. So then I take the $200,000 that I get from the bank and I pay off the $150,000 that my mom lent me. Not only that, I am going to pay her $20,000 in interest because she is so awesome. So on her $150,000, she got to make $20,000. That leaves an extra $30,000 in cash. And what happens to that cash? Well, it goes into your pocket completely tax-free. And why is it tax-free? Because it's proceeds from a loan. It is not capital gains. It is not any sort of ordinary income. It is proceeds from a loan, and you don't pay taxes on a loan, right? So I get to use that $30,000 for anything that I want, and I don't have to pay any taxes on it. Sometimes you might consider this better than flipping, because when you flip the property, yes, you might make more money, but a good amount of it goes towards paying taxes. Here I'm getting the $30,000 completely tax-free, and I get to keep the property. Isn't that the coolest part, right? So after you refinance, you repeat the process over and over and over and over as many times as you want. You can repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, and then this is how you multiply the assets you own. You are no longer restrained by how much money you have, because now you're using other people's money to do your deals, and you can refinance over and over and over. See how powerful that is compared to what we had before, where here I had to put $75,000 down and wait 7 years to break even. Here I'm already broken even. Not only that, I made $30,000 after I refinanced. And how quickly can you do this process? How long does it take? You can do it in a year. It doesn't take that long. You can do it in less than a year. And that's the power of it. So that means I can buy this property this year and then go do it again and again and again. Also, with that $150,000 up there, that $150,000 I can borrow from a ton of different people. I can use a hard money lender whose primary source of income is to lend money out to real estate investors like me. They have as much money as I want to borrow as long as I have good deals. A good deal being where when I refinance, I can pay them back. When they feel comfortable that I can do that, then I'm good. They're happy to lend me more money. So I create relationships with these people. They want to lend me as much money as possible. And then I create relationships with private money lenders as well. And then they want to lend me money. So I can use their money to buy and renovate the property. And then I can go refinance and pay everybody back. Super powerful. So I can do 10 deals at a time, refinance all of them, do 10 more deals, refinance all of them, and over and over and over. When it comes to doing this BRRRR method, the most important thing in my mind when doing this whole thing is knowing the terms of the refinance. You want to base your entire deal on the terms of the loan that you're going to get at the end, because that's going to determine whether you can refinance out, whether you can get a large enough loan, how much rent you need to collect in order to cover the loan. So all of the details about the deal is predicated on the terms of your loan. So make sure if you're trying to do this that you know what terms to look out for, and then this way you can set up your whole analysis based off of that refinance. That refinance is the key to the whole entire thing. Now, there are two other steps right before you get into the BRRRR that's just as important as that refinance, right? So first step is buy the property. But before you do that, there's two important things, and those are two F's. You got to find the property and know how you're going to fund the property, okay? You're going to find it and fund it. And people often ask, Hoan, what's the best way to find properties? Well, the way I like to find properties is I like educating other people in how to find properties. So when I teach people how to find properties, they find the properties, and oftentimes they don't either know what to do with the properties or they're not set up to do anything with the properties just yet. So what happens is they want to wholesale the property to me. And I love working with these people. I show them how it's done, and then they get to make a bunch of money for very little effort. So what I like to say is, like, people like to buy properties from wholesalers. I like to say that I'm creating wholesalers. I create the wholesalers who end up selling me their first property. Now, of course, there are other ways to market for properties. People ask, Hoan, if I'm not interested in educating, or I don't feel like I'm in the position to educate other people, then how else can you find properties? What's the best way to market for properties? And then I like to say the best source of marketing is the one that you will stick to. Whatever it is that you will do, whether you're driving for dollars, whether you're doing bandit signs, whether you're doing cold calling, door knocking, text messages, it doesn't really matter. What really matters though is your consistency. What will you do over time even when you don't feel like it? Well, in this video, I just went over the high-level pieces of doing a BRRRR strategy. But if you guys are interested in learning more of the finer details, step-by-step on how to actually do a BRRRR from start to finish, then go check out my new course called Building a Booming BRRRR Business. And you can check that out at hoanzone.com. All right, guys, in the comments below, let me know if you've ever heard of the BRRRR strategy, and if so, do you implement it in your own business? Like I said, the reason I'm recording this video is because I talked to a friend today, and I explained it to him, and I thought or assumed that he would know this already, but he didn't. So I figured you guys out there in the world, you might not have heard of this, but you should, because this is super powerful and will change your life. So let's work together and let's end generational curses. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Peace.